Hey guys, hopefully this is going to be a useful video for you. This is a concept video for our upcoming test, trigonometry. Now first off, we're always dealing with right triangles in this test. So given a right triangle, even if it's rotated, it doesn't matter. It's still a right triangle no matter what the situation is, which means this angle's always right over here. So first concept we need to understand is we need to understand what theta is. Theta is just the angle we're talking about at the moment. When we talk about theta, we have three sides to consider. Usually a right triangle only has two legs and a hypotenuse, but when you have a theta involved, there are three new sides, or three sides different. The first one is the hypotenuse, which is always across the right angle. The second one is opposite of the angle you're standing on, the theta over here. So that's going to be the opposite. And the third one is the one next to it. You can think of it as the side that's connecting your angle to the right angle. So the side that connects the right angle and your angle, the theta, those are the adjacent. So you got to know if I move the theta over here to this side, that means that the adjacent is over here now and the opposite is over here. So depending where your theta is, your adjacent and your opposite are going to be in different places, but your hypotenuse should always be in the same spot. So in general, what you're going to do is that in these situations, you have three trig functions. The best way to remember what each function does is this mnemonic device, which is SOHCAHTOA. When you get your test on tomorrow or whatever you watch us, make sure to put SOHCAHTOA right away on your paper, just in case, okay? But SOHCAHTOA is the key to everything here. Now, for example, let's say if I had an x here and I had 4 over here, and I want to figure out what x is. The steps are as follows. Step 1, which I put in the notes. Step 1 is to identify what side to have. This is opposite, and this is hypotenuse. Step 2 is because you have the sides, use the sides to figure out the trig. So in this case, if this is opposite and hypotenuse, that's going to be OH, or sine in this case. Because now I know what trig function I use, I can now plug this in. I got to put an angle here. Let's call it like 42 degrees. So sine of 42 degrees equals the opposite. See how O is next? So it tells me the opposite is on top, over hypotenuse, which is 4. In here, I'm going to multiply on both sides 4 to get rid of that 4 on the bottom and get x by itself. And then in the calculator, I'm going to type 4 times sine 42 equals x. So in this scenario, I take my calculator and type that in, and I'll get some answer. In general, the concepts are going to always be that kind of situation where you have one side, the other side, and an angle. So depending where your angle is, you have to identify correctly. And sine means, and I guess I should write this out, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. So all of these things are help you figure it out. In this case, this will be able to find a side. If you have a situation that occurs like this, say sine 33 equals 2 over x. To make your life easier, just swap the positions of x and the sine, and then you just get x equals 2 over sine 33. So most of this thing is set up. You need to show your setup on the test, so I know what you plugged in your calculator, so I can make sense of any issues with the decimal, especially if it's in the wrong mode. I'll talk about that at the end. So not only sine works for those situations where you're looking for that side, it also helps me find the angle. So if I say I have a theta over here, and I have 3 and I have 4 over here, I'm going to try to find that angle. So this angle is going to be, let's just do here, I have opposite and I have adjacent. So that must mean that I have tan, TOA. So it's going to be tan of my angle, which I don't know what it is, equals opposite 3 over adjacent 4. In this scenario, we take the tan, and we're going to use the inverse. So tan -1, tan -1. So cross those out. Theta equals tan -1, 3 over 4. Then you just typed in the calculator for some answer, okay? The next thing you have to think about is sometimes I'm going to ask you to find all the things at once, okay? So in this scenario, let's say I give you this is 10, and then I give you this is 15 degrees. In this scenario, I'm going to need to find angle B, angle BC, and angle AB, or line AB, I apologize. Line BC, line AB. Okay. Some general rules, you have a couple of tools. Not only we got SOHCAHTOA, you also have the tool a squared plus b squared equals c squared, which is the Pythagorean theorem. Pythagorean theorem. And then you also know that all triangles add up to 180 degrees. So if this is 15 degrees, you could do 180 minus 90 minus 15 and figure out that should be 75 degrees. When you do this problem yourself,
Kayla Ginsberg, please go to the bus immediately. Kayla Ginsberg to the bus.
When you do these problems on the test, I recommend just labeling the sides you want to do as X and Y, or A and B, or 1 and, well, don't use numbers, but different variables. So that once you look at it like this, you could do, oh, if I have 15 and I have 10, and I have X over here, this is opposite, this is adjacent, I could do tangent of 15 equals opposite X over adjacent 10, 10 times tan 15. And this one I will plug it into the calculator to show. So this one is 10 times tan 15. And that's going to be 2.67. So we're going to round that to 2.7. BC is 2.7. And then in this one, we're going to use y. So 10 equals 2 points, and 2.7 equals y. You have two choices in this case. You could do trig function again, in this case adjacent and hypotenuse. You could do cosine 15 equals adjacent 10 over hypotenuse y. Or you could do Pythagorean theorem, like 10 squared plus 2.7 squared equals y squared, and do the math that way. Both ways should work. Let's just prove it with a calculator. So this is going to swap, so it's going to be y equals 10 divided by cos 15. So 10 divided by cos 15, 10.35 or 10.6, or 10.4, I mean. And this one, we're going to do 100 plus 100 plus 22.7 squared, 107.29, and then square root that answer. 10.358 again, so it looks like also 10.4. There's multiple routes to take that answer. One thing to keep in mind of in a word problem, if you see the word elevation, that means the angle looking up. So it'll be this theta over here. If you hear depression in the question, you're looking at this angle downwards. Oh, that's a horrible drawing. So you're looking at this theta here. Because you're looking at this theta here, that is going to be the same as this theta here, which means your angle of depression is actually the same as the angle of elevation. They're two sides of the same coin. Probably something philosophical about that. I don't know. But regardless, you just put your theta there, follow the instructions to figure out the rest of where you put the values, and you use SOHCAHTOA. Overall, that's the concepts of the test. Not many different concepts. This video got longer than I expected, but really it's all this. If you understand how to use SOHCAHTOA, you understand all the tests. Then the only thing you could really mess up is either plugging in your calculator wrong or you put the angles wrong in a word problem. Otherwise, knowing SOHCAHTOA is giving you the key to everything on this test. All right, good luck.